Non-stop news starts with new video of Aurora Theater shooting suspect James Holmes. This is the first new video of Holmes in court since right after his arrest. Today, the judge taking the unusual step of entering a not guilty plea on his behalf.
And we have team coverage. Call 7 investigator John Ferrugia asking questions about where the case goes from here. And we start with 7 News reporter Marshall Zellinger, who was in the courtroom.
Marshall.
Well, Mike and Ann, based on all of the motion so far in this case, it's likely James Holmes will still change his plea to not guilty by reason of insanity. But today, his attorneys told the judge they could not ethically say that they were ready to move forward and enter a plea because their own experts have yet to finish diagnosing him. Instead, the judge denied any delay entering a plea on Holmes' behalf. Cameras allowed in the courtroom for the first time since late July, focused on James Holmes, his long hair messy with a bushy beard, his eyes appearing glazed, blinking often.
Same as usual, hollow, evil, not insane.
Jessica Watts' cousin, Jonathan Blunk, was one of 12 killed at the theater. She was in the courtroom with dozens of other survivors and victims' families when James Holmes' defense attorney told the judge Holmes was not ready to enter a plea.
You could hear this, just his shoulders dropping, people started crying.
Marcus Weaver was shot in the arm. His friend Rebecca Wingo, another victim, killed in the shooting. Judge William Sylvester quickly ruled there would not be a delay. With Holmes' parents watching in the second row, the judge entered a not guilty plea on Holmes' behalf.
It is a rare beast when a judge enters a plea when the defense says they're not ready to enter a plea.
Holmes can still change his plea with the judge's approval, and legal analyst Dan Reck tells us he still expects that.
The moment the judge accepts a plea of not guilty by reason of insanity, everything gets slowed down.
New information we learned today: on April 1st, District Attorney George Brockler will let the court know if he will seek the death penalty. Right now, the judge has set a trial date for August 5th, lasting all 4 weeks of August. But assuming that Holmes will change his plea to not guilty by reason of insanity, this whole calendar goes away. The clock stops while he gets reviewed by doctors at the state mental hospital. Reporting live, Marshall Zellinger, 7 News.
And our team coverage continues with Call 7 investigator John Ferrugia. John, you say that April 1st date Marshall just talked about will be key in what happens next in this case.
That's right, Ann. You remember that Marshall said that Prosecutor George Brockler says he will declare whether he is seeking the death penalty on that day. Well, given the fact that the defense has not yet formally proceeded in the direction of an insanity plea, it would seem very likely that Brockler has little choice but to seek the maximum penalty. But there are a lot of moving parts here. Legal experts expect that once the defense confers with its doctors, Holmes will begin the process with a state evaluation to determine whether he's sane. Now, if the doctors at the state hospital in Pueblo find that Holmes is in fact sane, then that case would likely move forward to court and to trial. If the state doctors find that Holmes is not responsible for his actions in the Aurora Theater shooting, the prosecution can then make a decision. Will it continue to seek the death penalty, attempting to convince the jury that Holmes was indeed sane, overriding the opinion of the state exam? That doesn't seem likely, but the DA could also then offer Holmes life in prison without parole. Will he do that? We don't know. Clearly, one of the issues the DA is going to consider is what the victims want. Obviously, many of them would have to testify about the horrific details of what happened, so are they willing to relive these experiences? It's likely that the DA's representatives have already been surveying victims to see where they stand, and as you know, in most cases, there's never really a unanimous opinion. So a lot of questions still remain behind the scenes of this courtroom drama, but Ann, the next real decision is when or whether the defense is going to begin this process of moving forward on the insanity plea.
Interesting, John. Thank you. By the way, a new face at today's hearing, Caleb Medley, the aspiring comedian who was shot in the face at the theater. 4 days later, his wife gave birth to their son. Well, his Facebook page reveals he is working on trying to talk again and walking with assistance. 7 News viewers who have our app, the first to hear about today's plea. We've linked to a complete timeline of the case, including how Holmes allegedly prepared for the shooting, inside today's story on our 7 News app. You can download it for free from the Apple app or Google Play stores.